It was a matter of time, and it's happening faster than we expected. But things are not looking good for the ninja that we know and love to hate in Fortnite. Everything that goes up must come down. All good things must come to an end. But the truth is, Ninja's numbers are dropping alarmingly fast, and the spotlight looks to be over for the biggest streamer and gamer we've ever seen. Any massively successful streamer or YouTube you've known probably had their time to shine, their 15 minutes of fame, as we like to call it, and then they started to dip down. And then they dipped lower and lower until they weren't even talked about anymore. People stopped following them on Instagram or Twitter, and eventually they just became kind of an, oh yeah, I remember that guy. YouTubers like Fred and Ray Williams Johnson used to dominate YouTube like 10 years ago, and everybody who spent any time on YouTube knew who they were. Now we forget they even existed. Sky Does Minecraft and iBallistic Squid had tens of millions of views every month from playing the biggest game in the world at the time. And now they both lose hundreds of subscribers every single day. So will Ninja be just that guy with blue hair who played Fortnite with Drake? Or will he somehow overcome this fast, embarrassing decline? Just a handful of months ago, Ninja did something we probably will never, ever see again. He set the all-time Twitch subscriber record at around 263,000 subscribers. Twitch themselves probably never thought a number like that could ever happen, and just in subscribers alone, Ninja ended up with probably somewhere over $900,000, and this is just in March 2018 alone. That's more than most people will make in 10 or 15 years of work. His popularity on Twitch, of course, made all of his social media blow up too, but especially his YouTube, where April and May brought in over 400 million views. To put this into perspective, Logan Paul, who was dominating across the board in popularity, and everybody who spent time on or at the time off YouTube, including us, all knew his name. Of course, disliked by many as well. But he was able to only get half of Ninja's views in those 2 months. Remember, Logan Paul was YouTube. He's known for it. He built his business around the platform. And then some Twitch streamer came in and had twice as many as his views, and not even on their main platform. That's how big Ninja was. And in case you're wondering, Ninja's 400 million YouTube views probably brought in over $1 to $2 million just in those 2 months alone. And that is just revenue money. This doesn't include his epic support a creator code, like mine, that is thatdenverguyyT, wink wink, or the donations that poured in every second of every hour he streamed day after day, to the point that he actually had to increase his minimum notification alert amount because people got so annoyed by the constant animation and sound playing. To put it simply, Ninja was the king of both Twitch and YouTube, and nobody thought he would die down this fast, especially not within less than a year. He played with Drake, which Drake, by the way, was the one that wanted to play with Ninja and used to watch him live when taking a break from making music. And Ninja even played with famous professional athletes like Juju Smith-Schuster and Baker Mayfield and tons more. But everything that goes up must come down. All good things must come to an end. This is where Ninja is at now in January 2019. It's not a huge surprise to some of us now that Tfue has risen to power, overtaken Ninja as the #1 streamer in sub count, but it is a surprise that all of this happened in about 3 months. Ninja can go from a record-setting and probably will never be broken 260,000 plus subscribers down to 32,000, and barely beating his longtime friend Dr. Lupo, who lived in Ninja's shadow for as long as the two have played together. Let me say right now, this video is not intended to be an insult to Ninja. I have no negative feelings towards him. I think everything he has done for gaming and streaming has put the industry light years ahead of what it used to be and opened it up to a mainstream audience, and especially helped people who looked down on gaming. They became more accepting of it, not only as a hobby, but as a job. But these are the numbers, and whether you like Ninja or not, this is shocking how far and how fast he has dropped. His 200 million views in back-to-back months turned into just 60 million views in January. In no way is 60 million views small, but this is the Ninja we are talking about here, the guy who just about became a household name as a gamer and streamer. The biggest problem with this for Ninja is not the money, even though, of course, money is nice to have. Ninja is competitive, and he wouldn't be where he is if he wasn't. The biggest problem is that he is no longer on top, and it upsets him.
I think the only thing that's frustrating is that when you are when you were the #1 streamer, man, but still are followers, and when I'm actually streaming like full time, But I just, everyone's out to just look for the next guy now. At least on, streaming wise, it's really annoying.
Not only did Tfue pass Ninja up and almost double his subs, his friend Tim the Tatman also passed him up. Summit1G got his Twitch cred back with Sea of Thieves and passed him up. Shroud was always close to Ninja and finally passed him. And even Geek and Sundry beat out Ninja. Ninja isn't even in the top 5 on Twitch, and nobody would have guessed that would be the case even a few months ago. Now, Ninja did have some high-profile appearances, including being in a Super Bowl ad with some of the greatest NFL players of all time, so he was kept away from his real job of streaming, and even at one point went an entire week with streaming only once recently, which is unheard of for him. So what will Ninja do with this, and what will happen to him now? First, know that the numbers he is currently pulling would still equal more than what most doctors and plastic surgeons make if money is one of those motivating factors for him. 60 million views a month is still more than 99% of other YouTubers, and his over 30,000 subscribers still is more than like $100,000 per month. So in no way should we feel bad for Ninja when it comes to money. But again, this is the Ninja that was on national news networks. He made TV appearances on Ellen and CNBC to discuss his finances. He even had NFL players tweeting at him and recognizing him, like the great Barry Sanders, who was his idol, being a Lions fan, who knew Ninja as the Fortnite guy. And pretty much, he can't go anywhere without getting recognized.
Can we make it to our hotel without being recognized once?
As soon as one goes, it's 100.
It's over.
It's over. Oh my god.
So how does a worldwide phenomenon handle losing the spotlight so quickly? Well, if you have watched even 2 minutes of a Ninja stream over the last couple months, you can tell he is not his usual self. He has gone from the overly dramatic, yelling and screaming Ninja's hyper that used to jump around his room in excitement to a guy who sits pretty quietly in his chair and rarely smiles. I don't mean to make unfair assumptions, but he doesn't even seem to be enjoying himself anymore, which might explain the lack of streams lately. He doesn't react to donations or subs, and more so like mumbles parts of messages out of habit. And the worst of all is Ninja's face during his famous pon-pon dance. Ninja's pon-pon dance is iconic. It's unique. His viewers get hyped up, and even my own students at school know and will do the dance sometimes. But next time you catch a stream, watch Ninja's face and reaction to having to do the dance again and again. It's not even like a, all right, guess I'll have to do this again. It's more of like an anger, or just that he completely hates doing it anymore. He's not having any fun while doing what he used to find enjoyable, it seems. Even Ninja's friends seem to have lost some respect for him and don't mind giving him a hard time anymore, since he isn't as much of the famous untouchable Ninja. Pretty much calling him selfish, Tim the Tatman and Dr. Lupo get upset that Ninja doesn't kill himself, and even convince FaZe Cloak to kill himself to test Ninja. Ninja wanted to continue the game and see if he could win, and they didn't like it. Ninja gets visibly upset. He lashes out at his friends, and I think I honestly might have done the same. Check it out.
Look, I'm winning this game. Be a good teammate. Do you guys know what a win streak is? Man, I remember when
I wanted to play it, okay?
How dare you?
I got yelled at.
Grow a pair. What do you mean?
I got yelled at.
We survived, tilted, 2 of us left, and we are on a win streak. That's like, there's like rules to this, dude. Nothing's changed.
If you ever want to know what's hot in Fortnite, or just anything on YouTube or across Google, you can check out Google Trends. Here we see Ninja with a sudden rise to power almost a year ago, and has been on a decline ever since. Each month reaching what looks to be about a new low. Maybe like me, you were thinking, well, that could be because Fortnite as a whole has kind of gone down a bit, and you're right, but for a comparison, here's Tfue in the same time frame of the last 12 months with the sudden rise to power, but you can see he is trending upward. This is the talented competitive player Mongrel as well, hitting a huge peak recently and then still trending upwards regardless of whether Fortnite the game is doing well or not. I have a new competitive video of Mongrel coming out soon where ProGuides.com and me dive into what makes him so good, so be sure to check that out, as it might be out by the time you're watching this. Anyway, shameless plug over, the fact is that Ninja is dropping. He knows he's getting beat, and it shows in his personality. People started hating Ninja when he rose to fame, and I think most of it came from the fact that he has changed. He doesn't seem as humble anymore, not as goofy and open and kind. He doesn't let his real self show when he gets mad and wants to rage like the old times. Is it possible that just money changes people? An old saying is that money doesn't make you different or change you completely, but instead it brings out more of what you already are. If you are greedy, you'll become much more greedy. If you're generous, you'll become much more generous and giving to others. Maybe for Ninja's sake, if you are competitive and a little cocky, you'll take those to the extreme. And I think most people who knew him when he was blowing up are seeing a totally different person than what they found and enjoyed at first. I try to put myself in Ninja's shoes and see things from his perspective, and he was just a guy who grinded and worked hard for years. He had a small following from his competitive days in Halo, but never really was a top name or well known, besides for some of the off-the-wall stuff he did that was unique on his stream. Then all of a sudden, in like 2 months, you're the biggest streamer in the world. You are known by the developers of the game you play, and they ask you for advice, and you can't go to a grocery store without having to take pictures with kids. Famous rappers and athletes want you to play with them, and most importantly, the biggest change of all, you get millions of dollars piled on your lap. You start working twice the amount of hours to take advantage of the opportunity and make the best of it while you can. Your wife starts working long hours managing you. Sponsors start rolling in. You're in a Samsung commercial. You're in Super Bowl ads. You leave the home you lived in for years for something bigger and better, but you lost yourself somewhere along the way, and you know you aren't the same anymore. Could you possibly go back to who you were before you turn into a celebrity? And if you could, would you even want to? But then you see your numbers start to drop, and chat constantly asks you and teases you about it. Half of your donations coming in are about how somebody else is beating you, and they want to know your response. And your response is that you're upset about it because you want to try hard and be the best, but you can't say anything because then people will have that ammo to make YouTube compilations and take your words and twist them out of context to make you look bad. I don't personally envy Ninja's life right now, and I honestly don't want to see him go downhill. I just don't. I'll probably never talk to him, and especially if he sees a guy named thatdenverguy that made a video that is negative talking about him, then he definitely won't want to talk to me. So I'll just say what I honestly feel. Number one, I think people hate Ninja solely because he was the best for so long and had so much success. I am a Steelers fan, and I don't want to say this, and it hurts so bad to say this, but Tom Brady is hands down the best quarterback we have ever seen play football. And in a few years after retirement, we will all agree on that. But for now, he is massively successful. He just won another Super Bowl, and people hate him because, in my opinion, he always wins. It's human nature, apparently. Just ask any singer that got too big too fast, like Justin Bieber or Halsey. Number two, I don't think Ninja will ever come near the success he had in March, April, and May of 2018. And I think he knew it for a while. In an interview, he said he is being smart with his money and even said himself that it can't last forever. I respect that. And he will adjust to not being a worldwide celebrity again, probably over the next year. Number three, and the last one I'll say before I shut up and say too much, is that Ninja hands down carried himself better than probably any other gamer that would have achieved that kind of fame. Go to most gaming conventions. They literally hand out deodorant and post warnings about showering before you show up. No offense to Tfue, but imagine Tfue on CNBC or explaining to Ellen what a peen scrim is, or Dr. Disrespect shouting Raul at the host. It'd be funny and entertaining, but would paint gaming in the negative light that entire generations above us see it as. Ninja was respectful. He was well-spoken. He carried a surprisingly good conversation with everybody that I've seen him talk to in interviews and stuff. I have never had so many parents of my students come up to me that genuinely want to know what being a streamer or a YouTuber is about and how they can get their kids started, which is way better than every adult telling me growing up that gaming is a waste of time. Maybe moms will stop asking us to pause our online games soon. Who knows? Click like and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts down below. Leave a comment. Just tell me. I read most of them. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Love, Denver.